Yes.
Be careful what we say. We won't mention that now. Right, yeah. You know who would actually be able to eat the whole thing? Because you have to eat potatoes and all the stuff with it.
Yeah.
Tall, skinny cowboys.
Yeah. Well, she came back and ate 3 in a row at 1:15.
Yeah, it's amazing. We would have professional wrestlers and stuff come to town.
Yeah.
And they'd go out there and they couldn't do it.
No.
You'd have big people just, well, it's tall, skinny cowboy. I don't know if they had
Yeah, you're right. You have to eat like the steak, the potato, the vegetable, the bowl, and the drink.
Yeah. Now, one of the cool things that they did do was.
All right, guys, we are live.
They would.
So, go ahead, Chris. What we're talking about here, folks, is Amarillo, where Chris is from. And what are you talking about? That big steak? Just hold it there.
Well,
We have to fill some air here, people, because the crowds are moved outside. They left the room for us exclusively. So
It's standing room only if you come down.
they're out in the hallway. They said we're important people. You know, we get to have it a little easier.
Yeah, I was talking about the big Texan. It's a tourist attraction. It's the big 72-ounce steak. One of the coolest things they did though, they catered too, and they would cater a banquet, and they would take the 72-ounce steak, set it in the middle of the table, and then cut it into 8 pieces. So you got a piece of the 72-ounce steak, and then all the stuff that went with it. And of course, then they had the girls all dressed up in their cowgirl stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was Bob Lee, Senior. He was incredible. He was just a promoter.
Yeah.
And he built that thing from nothing, and the family's been able to carry it on.
Yeah. So.
One of the reasons we're talking about this is tourism, right?
Absolutely.
Just the
Yeah,
things that
we don't want you out there. We got places to eat here. So.
yeah. So, Aaron, so thank you for your service for 4 years.
Oh, thank you.
Good luck tonight,
Thank
and
you.
everybody watching and that's running. I know it's a difficult job. I understand that there's talks in the city, people that don't win, that the city is going to sponsor a week's vacation for all the people that don't win in Acapulco. That's what I've been hearing. I've heard rumors of that.
I have not heard that.
So yeah, it's been a hard race, and they should be able to relax. So, I mean, Acapulco, cliff diving, things like that, a little seafood. So that would be good, wouldn't it?
Presumably, I have not heard that. I can't speak to that.
You're not
That marijuana money. There's so much marijuana money that why not? Come on.
Tom, do you have a list of?
The candidates?
Yeah.
I don't. Carrie probably has one over there, unless it's on one of the things here.
You're
'Cause we should
you're
talk.
supposed to come prepared and have it.
So those of you that watch party, I'm sitting here with Aaron Williamson and Chris Miller and Ben Mandel. Crowds are out in the hallway gathering around for the results. Carrie said that she would come in and talk to us. She thought by 7 o'clock, which is in 12 minutes, that their computers are buffering. They're having a little bit of a problem. But once they have that, they'll be able to do some preliminary. So
It's a set up for controversy buffering.
yeah.
Would we make national news if we had an issue?
Well, I don't know if some of the people protest. Maybe we get to the Supreme Court or something, and they
Protest of 7.
protest at 7. Yeah. I think the Acapulco thing the city should consider. They worked hard.
I'll bring that up at tomorrow's meeting.
Okay.
Especially if I lose.
You know what? If you did that, we would get more people to run for office. It's like, hey, if I don't win, I go to Acapulco.
Right.
Well, make it Cabo and all right.
Cabo, yeah.
That's something that you mentioned earlier, the disparity between last race and this race. It's just something to...
Well, I'm encouraged because more people are paying attention, and not to disrespect the older generation, but it's time for some of the 20, 30, 40-year-olds to get involved as you did, and now your experience is it's very helpful. So I just wanted to see that people at least be interested in government.
And I think in retrospect, what caused me to run was a large amount of naivety, in the sense of I had questions that I really could have answered by watching meetings and looking at available city resources. And to be honest, I'm somewhat embarrassed from this vantage point to admit that. And on the other hand, I'm not, because I had questions, so I ran and got to a position where I thought I could make a difference. That being said, my point was, I think it's fantastic for people to be interested, hopefully get younger people to be interested, but they should be following the meetings beforehand,
Right.
so that you can step into the position, pick up the mantle, and be productive. I mean, because like there's so many misconceptions about local government, and it's new to people not following the newspaper, not watching your channel, not coming to meetings.
Right.
That would be easily answered if they did any of those three things. So I'm heartened to see that many people run, but I think it's important that people run and are informed.
Right.
So that's
Well, without using names or places, do you want to relate that story of the person that talked to you recently?
well, I was approached by a person that said they voted for me. They were not aware that I was on current council, and they just had so many misconceptions as to what council what council does. Their conception our idea of council was that we allow or disallow businesses into town.
Right.
And that's, as you know, that's not something that's routine at council. And in fact, we've had two businesses approach us in this 4 terms that I can remember distinctly, and that was Mavericks and Biotech Ecofuel.
Mm-hmm.
And you can attest to that. We were rabid supporters of both of those. I mean, anything that will bring good paying jobs with benefits to town, council by and large is going to be a fan of. So
Right.
my point is, had the guy that I spoke to been watching the newspaper, your channel, or city council meetings, he
Right.
would know that.
Right.
And he would be aware that I was already on council. So yeah.
And so from when you first got on to now, what's the biggest difference? What do you know that you didn't know then?
That's a big question. I mean, like
We've got to fill some air. So I'm asking big questions.
You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've already pretty much put it out there that I ran out of total ignorance. So, and I like to think I'm a quick learner, so I think I picked up things pretty quickly. But I would say the biggest takeaway for me is that hey Sam, I think that city council works for the people that work with city council in the
Guys,
sense.
we're live streaming right now. If you want to move that code or whatever, you can have a seat over there. Sorry.
If you have something that's pressing, urgent, or needful, come to city council, make your voice heard at the public comments, and you can do a lot with that.
Right.
That's been my opinion.
Right.
And then other than that, you really want a council that's good stewards of dollars. I think we've done that. Support staff in their pursuit of grants. I think we've done that. Bring innovative and new ideas to town. I think we've done that with the river project, Housing Now initiatives, and so many other things. Is the public transportation? I think it's VUBA, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I mean, that's so exciting. If we can get that here, it will be such a benefit for Trinidad. So, but you said, what have I learned? I
Right.
believe that is it. That it's amazing the decisions that are made every other week in a complete absence of any public input. I mean, it's amazing to me how many times the mayor slams the gavel and says, "Okay, no public input."
Right.
And there should be public input.
Right.
So if I win a trip to Acapulco, I'm planning on being down there at city council.
Sam, I just heard rumors that the people that don't win are gonna, the city's thinking about sending them all for a week to Acapulco. It's just a rumor, probably is true.
I
But
suspect that's not.
I think if you're willing to run and put yourself out there and do all this, that maybe it's the least the city could do, and we get more people to run for office.
As a
Probably have about 50 people next time.
as a point of observation, we really should make it a week's paid vacation in Trinidad to support local Trinidad.
There you go.
Hey,
Some of our local hotels.
if there's anybody out there that hasn't,
Yeah, no,
I'm actually allowed to say that.
so, where's your
Manny, we're live right now. If you want to wave to the camera, right there.
Manny, what's up? Manny, how you doing, sir? I'm spreading germs, I guess. That's, handshaking was very pre-COVID.
So, Aaron, how much time do you think you spend a week on work for council meetings?
Man, it really varies. Some meetings that don't have a lot, it doesn't take an excessive amount of time. Probably an hour and a half. Reading through the bills, that's a long one, but you really do need to, and you should have at least some idea as to where the money is going that you're approving. I mean, that's a big spend
Right.
all the time. On the average side, I'd say an hour and a half. To the long side, preparing for some stuff, I mean, I would say maybe 5 hours. That's pretty rare though.
Right.
I read pretty fast, so yeah. And it's I think I'm probably not dissimilar to any out there. I feel no matter how much time you put towards it, you always have the feeling that you should have put more.
Right.
But to your point, it is more of a job than people realize. And I first said at your Meet the Candidates forum, I said that everyone has a plan until they're punched in the face.
Right.
Council, if you take it seriously, it really is a good shot to the face. So whoever gets on experience that. I mean, I can't imagine this would happen unless you don't take it seriously at all and show up and
Right.
take cues from others and just do what they did. So,
One of the things that I've observed is you guys are pretty collegial with each other. I mean, I've seen some previous councils that didn't always get along. So, I mean, I'm impressed by that. I'd say for the most part that you guys are gracious and generous to each other. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I really strive for that overall. We've had differences of opinion, and I think it's settled in. Our charter limits us. 3 of us can't talk city business, and that's more limiting than.
Right.
Because a quorum is 4, I believe, and we're not allowed to speak city business amongst 3 of us. But we can talk one-on-one, and there is a lot of that goes on. I mean, you call other council members and say, "Hey, listen, this is going on, and we need to get to there." So I think that helps alleviate any,
So Ben and I were talking today. We were at the county commission meeting, and one of the things if I come to you and want to talk to you about an issue, are you free to talk to citizens about issues?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless it's a matter of executive session, and then I'm not. And speaking of executive session, there's been some controversy about that. That was something that was very pleasant to learn for me.
Right.
Anytime you go into executive session, and you've served on boards, when you enter into executive session, there's very specific parameters that are placed, and there's all manner of reasons that it happens in executive session. But I've been just really pleasantly surprised to observe and learn that the bounds of executive session really has been tightly kept. If and it's never intentional. Like people don't ever say, "Hey, I'm now going to talk about this aspect, which is outside, but let's all try and get along with it." But it's like you're driving down the highway and you bump into the rumble strip.
Right.
Someone in city council will say, "Listen, you're departing," or very often the lawyer will say, "You're departing the bounds of executive session. We need to, reel that back in."
Only the topics that you went in there
Correct.
for.
And that's been something I've been very impressed by. Professionalism that exists
Right.
in that aspect. So yeah.
Cool. Chris, you want to get you to talk about your experience in running for council?
Oh, yeah, let's give this a shot.
This you gotta kind of, you don't just hold this like that, with a clip right there, and they'll be able to hear you. You don't have to put it close. It's pretty good mic. They can hear you. So just what motivated you to run, and what were some experiences that were positive and negative?
I will say things that made me run are, I think my time spent planning and zoning, sitting on, some boards. And the city doesn't do their due diligence to make things happen in a timely fashion. But I think from the outside looking in, a lot of times I think that the citizens have information. And there's things that I've learned because I've sit on boards and being a contractor in town, I just felt like I wanted to be a bigger part of how things happen. I'm huge on infrastructure, right? So I mean, I've said that since day one, and I think a lot of candidates have brought that, always talk about that. But there's just things that I just feel that there are a lot of things that, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like some of our money should go in a different way.
Right.
And that's big for me. Meaning, and I don't want to go into grave detail because I don't know how much of this is public knowledge and how much is not. But,
Right.
I have insight. And so that was big for me. I wanted to be there because I wanted to have a voice. I think secondly, what I've learned from running for city council is I want to see more people be invested. I feel like a lot of people, and I don't want to say, I'm trying to really pick my words wisely.
Right.
Because I am not a great public speaker. We all know that. We've witnessed that. But I really feel like I want to be a big pusher because people will complain. I'm just going to use the word. A lot of people
Right.
in the community will complain, but I don't find a lot of the community gets invested. They don't pay attention to the city council meetings. They're not paying attention to the planning and zoning meetings. But when a decision is made, they want to complain.
Bingo.
And for me, I want to be a big pusher because the community has to get invested. But with that said, it also, there was, what I will say is, we use the word transparency. Maybe the city didn't give much opportunity to keep the city informed or to keep the community informed. Let me rephrase that.
Right.
And I will say, since this race has began, I have seen some change in that.
How so?
Well, everybody's got listed numbers now.
Right.
That's something that really the public complained about that, and Now, again, I wasn't a guy that paid a lot of attention to all that, so I may be speaking out of context, but I feel like I'm on point. There are things that the city has done now, because now that I pay attention to a lot more than I used to. I would say that the city has been a little bit more invested in ensuring that the public can have access to the different places or the different people within the community, number one.
Right.
There's some of these things that have just come out that people always complain that they didn't have. Now it's one thing to put it out there, it's another thing to answer the phone and to answer questions.
Right.
So, we can put it out there, but we still have to do the city needs to do the due diligence to react and have the response for the community.
My frustrations in watching them do Commercial Street. After the fact, there were some people that, why they do it like that? Well, they had all these public meetings, and people just didn't show up.
And we're heading for something quite similar on the West Main.
West Main.
We're going to do the West Main. Sorry to cut in.
No, you're good.
We're going to do the West Main.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, we're heading to the.
Yeah. It's like, come on, people, you don't come afterwards like, why did they make that parking lot? Why did they make the street so narrow? It's like, we're not exactly as small as Santa Fe when it comes to trying to drive around town, but we're pretty close.
Right.
So.
It's just, I'm excited. I'm going to be a real shooter. I'm not going to try to play somebody that I'm not. I am far from a politician. I'm a business guy. But I want to see some great change.
Right.
I believe we have great people, great staff. As a person,
Right.
planning and zoning, I find us to be dependent on staff in a large way. Again, the city does have a good staff.
Yeah.
Excited to learn. Somebody made a statement to me. It was at one of these meet and greets, and I made a statement that I'm excited to learn. Right? Because we're not going into this like we know everything, correct?
Right.
Like, and so, and even you made the statement, Aaron, that, you spent your first 4 years learning, right? And growing, correct? Now, I might not have said it in that same tone or the same sentence, but at the end of the day, we all have to spend time learning. And that's what, I'm excited for that. I'm excited to learn more. I want to get more invested in the city. I want to get more invested in the community.
Right.
If I can be a voice of change, it's a small voice. I want to be that small voice.
If I hope you don't.
No.
If you can change one thing, like right away, what would it be?
That's a good question.
You change seats?
Huh?
No. We're filling time here. So there's people watching at home and having watch parties and drinking beer while we're not. So
I understand it. What would I want to change? That's a tough one. That's under the. I feel like I'm under the gun on that one because I really don't know. One thing I want to change about the city, I just know that I want to be a part of the future. Does that make sense? And maybe it doesn't. The city has a lot to offer people.
I think Trinidad is on the cusp of potentially really big growth and a lot of change, and it needs to be managed properly.
Okay.
So that's.
Let me back up.
You're talking about.
I'm glad you. If I had to change one thing, here's one thing that I don't see that happens within our city. I appreciate the fact, because our main streets are very valuable, right? We're talking about, but am an industry guy. I would,
Oh. Carrie, you're gonna, if you would stand here, this is your mic, if you wanna read.
Just right here?
You're gonna, I'll stand over here.
If you don't want to be in the camera, go that way. Yeah. All right, so mayor number, are you ready? Okay, first I just want to say that we have ballots still from the close at the 7 o'clock hour. So we are still uploading. These are just unofficial results, okay? Mayor, Dan Rossetti, 604. Karen Griego, 994. Tom 54. And Carlos R. Lopez, 559. Council members, there will be an at-large vote for 3. We have candidate Sky Tallman at 501. Sam Cooker, 430. Frank Shu, 917. Manuel Manny Trujillo, 886. Ryan Dornan, 114. Suzanne Magnuson, 580. Aaron Williamson, 916. Ray Garcia, 462. Joe Bonato, 629. Keeley Williams, 624.
Let me give you another microphone so you have both of them, because you were cutting out a little bit there, just to make sure, and if you would.
You're
if you
asking
go
a lot
through
of
the-
me, Tom.
I know, but if you would, go through the council candidates after you go through the rest.
Again,
If you
one
would,
more
yeah.
time?
Yeah,
Okay.
because it cut out just.
Okay.
a little bit. And I don't know if it's at home, so it might
Okay.
be glitching for them.
And let me know when you're ready again.
Okay, go.
Okay, Primero, 4-year term, vote for 3. Candidate, Peter Saint, 144. Dixon Schaefer, 172. Jeremiah Harris, 227. Carrie Rivera, 267. And Lonnie Lopez, 264. Trinidad School District, 4-year term, vote for 3. Candidate Selena Vallejos, 1339. Karen Montera, 1034. Edward Romero, 830. James Sanchez, 847. Brett Mann, 1063. And Claudia Trujillo, 1264. Proposition HH, yes, 1509, no, 2722. Proposition II, yes, 2333, no, 1826. Expanding term limits for Los Animas County Board of County Commissioners. Yes, 773, no, 3,423. City of Trinidad ballot issues. Yes, 965, no, 1,256. City of Trinidad ballot question 2B. Yes, 794, no, 1118. City of Trinidad ballot question 2C. Yes, 1,229, no, 876. I will repeat the council members one more time in case it did break out.
The mayor and
Okay. Mayor, Dan Rossetti, 604. Karen Griego, 994. Tomasino Cazenza, 54. And Carlos R. Lopez, 59. Council members, Tallman, 501. Sam Coker, 430. Franklin Shu, 917. Manny Trujillo, 886. Ryan Dornan, 114. Susanna Madison, 580. Aaron Williamson, 916. Ray Garcia, 462. Joe Bonato, 629. And Keeley Williams, 624. We will, as of right now, it looks like it would be Frank Shu, Manny Trujillo, and Aaron Williamson. We do still have more ballots to count, so if you want to stick around, I will get those counted up. It might take an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, and then we'll get you guys another number, okay?
Okay, can I get that sheet?
Absolutely.
Thanks, Craig.
Of course. Oops, sorry. You guys didn't, but you won't. We've got more to count, so everyone.
Yep. Folks, there you have it. I don't know if I'm going to stick around or not. I think that these totals are probably going to stick. But thank you for watching. I'm Tom Murphy, and this is Trinidad Times TV. All right, so let me try this. People are telling me they can't hear anything. Let me put it on the screen. I'll do that.
You still on there, Tom?
Yes.
It's an exciting day here in Trinidad.
Hang on, because we're live, dude. They said they can't hear. Can't hear anything. Can you broadcast text account? Oi. Say I'm sorry.
Nope, you're good. That's all we do is try, right?
Yep.
That's the name of the game. I still got to play some in the cities.
I'm on the tourism board. There are other boards and stuff that actually have a lot of councils each year. You might look at that. Back in as an old retired man, that's a good place to, because I listen to citizens too, and you can talk a little bit more power behind you. Anyway, my name's Chris Miller.
Chris, I'm Sanko.
I just say, how are you?
This is my son Xander.
Hi, what do you think of all this stuff? You gonna run for president someday? Think about it.
We'll figure it out, right? All right, you guys have a good night. Peace. Let's go, big guy.
Looks like no, nothing changed. I don't really understand. Which one is which one of these is the tourism? That's the last two I saw on the TV. Looks like it did everything else.
I'm trying to put they said they couldn't hear, so I'm trying to put the numbers up for them.
Which
And there's a
which one's the tourism tax?
4. Okay. I'm gonna have to look at it here a second.
Glad I get to know Aaron a little bit better. He's a good guy.
Oops. take a while to do all these others. Chris, hang on a second. We'll take a look at this. Okay. Oi. Tell me if I'm in the shot here, and I'll read these for people that are saying that they the frame. It might a little bit. Okay, folks. So it'll be easier. It'll take me too long to do this. So I'm going to read through this. Sky Tolman 501. Hopefully my things are working. Sam Coker 430. Frank Shu 917. Manny Trujillo 886. Ryan Dornan 114. Susan Magnuson 580. Aaron Williamson 916. Ray Garcia 462. Joe Bonato 629. Keely Williams 624. Total votes 6,059. That's pretty good turnout. Okay, and so for the city, let's look at this. So Ben, did the tourism thing pass?
Which one is to be?
Huh?
I'll have to go get a ballot.
Sid, vote for one candidate, party. No, yes. One of the ballot questions passed, 2B.
The 2C passed.
Well, let me take a look at my,
What are the ones you said are still to come in?
they're gonna update some more ballots, but I think statistically, we're probably set.
So Fox News could call this election.
Maybe.
$9.65 for yes, $12.56 for no.
And that's for the tourism?
Yeah.
Ballot issue, vote for one.
Let me get this on.
Term limits, that was no surprise. I've seen 3 of those before. It's usually 4 to 1.
Always next year.
I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I think that's it.
All right.
Good to know.
You're not gonna wait for the final results?
That's an hour.